With just 3 weeks until the November midterms, and a new poll showing that 85% of Americans are either angry or dissatisfied with the economy, Democrats are back to bashing businesses and fueling class warfare out on the campaign trail. Take a listen to what President Obama told a crowd in Philadelphia this weekend.
What they're counting on is you're going to stay home. They're counting on your silence. They're counting on your amnesia. They're counting on your apathy. They're counting on young people staying home, and union members staying home, and black folks staying home, and middle-class families staying home.
All right, so is all this business bashing and class warfare a sign of Democrats in desperation? Well, let's talk to former GE and AOL executive Mark Walsh. He is now co-host of Left Jab on Sirius Radio. We also welcome on the set Utah Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz. Thank you very much. Mark, I want to begin with you, my friend. I just want to hear what you have to say. The whole country is worried about unemployment and job losses and a tepid subpar economy. So let me go down the list. Besides the class warfare, he wants African Americans and unions and young people to come out, not the rest of us. Then he bashes, in no particular order, the Chamber of Commerce, Wall Street banks, corporations, oil companies, insurance, credit card, then just for good measure AIG, and my favorite in one of his speeches, he bashed ExxonMobil. I don't know what they did except being an oil company. Now, I ask you, is this the worst disconnect between class warfare rhetoric and actual economic reality you have ever heard?
Shockingly, Larry, I disagree with your assessment, and I'll tell you why. First of all, I think the clip you just played is not class warfare. It's called motivating your base, and both parties do it every single election. And just work with me for 1 second here. This is a pro-business president who is trying to remind America that he's been pro-business since he came in. He's reduced taxes for 97% of Americans. He saved the financial services industry. He saved the automotive industry. He's going to make money off GM equity. He has incented small businesses with growth. And he has a bipartisan commission to check on entitlement reform, including saving Social Security and Medicare. This guy is pro-business. The only thing he hasn't done is reduce taxes for the wealthy. So I disagree with those who say, and I think it's a canard, that it's class warfare. He's motivating the base. Those people have voted for him in 2008, and that's good politics.
So, Congressman Chaffetz, let me just review the bidding once again. He's a pro-business president, according to my great friend Mark Walsh. So he's bashing the Chamber of Commerce, Wall Street banks, corporations, oil industry, insurance, credit card, AIG, and just for good measure, he mentioned ExxonMobil out in the campaign trail. Now, okay, if I'm dumb, happy, and stupid, and I just listen to that stuff, you think he's pro-business? Is that confidence inspiring?
I don't think anybody thinks he's pro-business, except maybe the golf industry thinks he's pro-business. I mean, he's out there golfing week in and week out. Look, the problem that we have in the economy is there's so much uncertainty. There's so much uncertainty. What we need to do is help give regulatory certainty to the marketplace, because right now we don't know if our taxes are going up. We don't know what Obamacare, how it is going to work, how is it going to affect small businesses. Are small businesses really, truly going to have to fill out a 1099 form on everything that they do? Is cap and trade going to pass? I mean, to suggest that he's pro-business, it doesn't pass the very basic lab test.
Why is it, Congressman, that everyone in the country, I mean, every day, articles in the Washington Post, the New York Times, these are not conservative newspapers, are writing about this. All the polls show this. People are in an uproar about the malfunctioning economy. Okay, 18 months, 20 months after this administration, and after the huge spending stimulus package, stuff hasn't worked. Why isn't he addressing his economic vision for the afterwards, after the midterm election? Why is he engaging in this business bashing and class warfare? What is the logic politically behind that?
I mean, my only guess is that politically what they're trying to do is the politics of personal destruction, as opposed to actually running on the policies that you say you're in favor for. When you don't have much to talk about, when you say you're going to go out and spend $787 billion on a stimulus to keep unemployment less than 8%, and then it's at 9.6% for something like 14 months in a row, you don't have much of a record to run on, and so you start the politics of personal destruction, and that's what turns a lot of people off. I think it's actually turning off his base more than it's actually turning people off.
You see, Mark Walsh, a much smarter president politically, was one Bill Clinton. You remember Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was a guy who would get out there and say, I feel your pain. I know there's a problem, and I'm going to work with you. This guy is out there in your face to all these business interest groups, including this Chamber of Commerce fiasco, where he is slurring the chamber with absolutely not one shred of evidence that there's foreign money coming into these ads. He's slurring the Supreme Court, which ruled that it was okay, and he is not speaking to the worries and anxieties of the American people. Now, this is over the top, Mark Walsh. You'll agree with me, will you not?
Well, I think there's some over-the-top speech going on, but I'm not sure it's coming from me. I would argue that the politics of personal destruction, as the congressman mentioned ago, first of all, I disagree that Obama is guilty of that. I would argue that some of that is coming from the right. I mean, many of the right candidates are suggesting that we reduce or abolish minimum wage. They're talking about reducing or abolishing the Department of Education. They're talking about reducing and abolishing a number of financial events that make a lot of sense.
Those are policy disputes. You may not like the policy, Mark Walsh, but that is not bashing one by one. Banks, the Chamber of Commerce, oil, insurance, credit card. Do you understand the difference between personal confrontation and blasting and policy disagreements? That's what I'm getting at. If he has a policy, why doesn't he sell it on the campaign trail?
He is selling it, Larry. I would argue that you're not buying it, but he is selling it. Remember, those very sectors that he, in your terms, are bashing, and I disagree with that term, those are the very sectors that many Americans feel put them in this situation. The banks, the credit card companies, the investment banks, the overspending and lack of investment from the GM and the automotive industry. These are the very sectors that many middle-class Americans feel put them in this tough situation. It's not self-destruction. It's just logic.
But what America understands is that the Obama administration and Nancy Pelosi have grown government. They haven't grown the private sector. And so he's out there bashing the sector. The reality is there are 133,000 additional federal workers since Barack Obama took office. And you look at the private sector, they're losing jobs all the time. And then you hear the president, he's bashing them, and then he's out on the golf course. That's what's offensive.
And he's blasting millionaires and billionaires. Hey, Mark, you got to be worth $1 million. He's blasting you, for heaven's sake. Listen, he has nothing good to say about any of the producers and businesses that create jobs in this country. I object to that. I'm sorry. That is divisive. What happened to the post-partisan president?
Well, listen, I just went to my business school reunion, and they're all yelling at me for coming on your show and talking about raising taxes for all of us. But let me suggest to you that these phrases of partisanship, these phrases that are being tossed around about personal destruction, let me just make crystal clear the one thing I'm trying to get across here, which is that many middle-class Americans, those who have enjoyed tax cuts under this president, many middle-class Americans have lost faith in some of the sectors that you feel he is bashing. I say again, the financial services industry is considered by many middle-class Americans to be at fault for where they are today. So why wouldn't this president stand up and say, I want to change things?
Don't raise taxes. We got a tough economy. Shouldn't have to raise taxes. Shouldn't be raising taxes.
He is not raising taxes, Congressman. That is a false canard. He is not raising taxes.
The Democrats took us into adjournment. They took us into adjournment, and business does not know what's going to happen on January 1st. You have to assume that they're going to actually raise taxes.
How is that playing in Utah? Does that move the meter in this election in Utah, the fact that the Democrats walked away without even a vote?
Absolutely. If you look at it clearly, if you're an S-Corp, an LLC, a partnership, and you see that your taxes are going to be raised on January 1st, you get penalized by hiring new employees. You better darn well not die either. I mean, this is just inexcusable because the Democrats have the House, the Senate, and the presidency.
Mark Walsh, I want to tell you, here's my take, buddy. The president is blowing smoke at us because he doesn't want to deal with the economy or the last jobless report. That's the problem. I think he's making a huge tactical mistake. I may be wrong. Maybe the election will come. But I don't think so. I think he's missing an opportunity to lead, and I think he's losing even more credibility. And by the way, the in-trade investment poll shows today the Senate Democrat control contract lost more ground. The House Republican contract gained ground. I got to leave it there. I think he's just blowing disruptive class warfare smoke at us, Mark. I'm sorry, buddy.
Hey, Larry.
Yes, sir.
I feel your pain, okay?
You do. I know you do. I know you do. We're going to get the real Mark Walsh after this thing is all over. Mark, thank you very much. Representative Jason Chaffetz, thank you ever so much for coming on.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it. Up next on Kudlow, now we got another one. China's starring role in campaign ads all across the nation. Why outsourcing and